But we got a crazy guest coming up, man. This guy, man, ever since I freaking seen him fight and seen him, man, he's just ceased to not amaze me, man. He amazes me every freaking time he gets in the ring. He amazes me every time I speak to him. This guy is just crazy. Like when you think about it, this guy started performing on the international level at 8 years old. Mind you, he was a world champion by 10 years old, right? This man is a beast. Not only did he do that, he's a homebred karate combat fighter. He was the first Bantamweight champion, and he will be fighting for it again. And on top of that, I mean, it's so much more. I'm just going to keep it as simple as I can, but this man is also not just handsome, not just a great fighter, but this man is super smart as well. I want to introduce my man, my boy, Dr. Eoghan Chelmiah is in the building. What's good, brother? Let's get you on the big screen. There we go. There he is. A beautiful introduction for you, man. I had to do it. You know, you're my boy. We've had a lot of conversations over these last months since we met each other. First off, I want to say I'm super proud of you, dude. We had a conversation after your Goyito fight in Mexico City. We had a real conversation about like you and moving forward and the things you want to do. And since then, you've done so much. You've got engaged. You've got your doctorate as well as her getting her degree. I don't know exactly what it was. If you want to say it really quick, so I don't misspeak on hers.
Yeah, so she received a Master of Arts, and she's currently now on a PhD track as well. So soon to be.
Yes, and that's his soon to be wife. So I don't know if you guys had the wedding already yet, but you've done that, and you also are back in contention to possibly get your belt back, brother. So a lot has gone on. We got a lot to talk about. If you don't know, this is Eoghan Chelmiah, former bantamweight champion of karate combat. And we'll be fighting Arturo Vergara, which is also somebody who's been on the show, a good friend of ours. And I absolutely want to let you know that I hate this fight with all of my heart. Okay. I hate the fact that both of you guys have to fight each other. I'm just going to say it.
I think they hate that they have to fight.
Yeah, I think everybody does, bro. When I see you training together, I'm like, hopefully they never fight each other. But now it's happening, and it has to because you guys are the best, right? You guys are the two best in the league. And we'll get into that in a second. But before that, like I said, I want to congratulate you on all of the great stuff you've done, from graduating to getting engaged, to getting back to the top. And we talked about this, and you're here now. So first, I want to say congratulations for all of that, brother. It's really exciting, and it's like a proud brother moment, man. I get to see you get back up there and do your thing, bro. I love it. It's amazing, dude. But other than that, how are you feeling? What's going on at the ranch, baby? The farm, well, all the beautiful animals. But I love watching that content. But how you feeling?
Yeah, everything's good. Thank you so much for that introduction, and thanks for inviting me on here. I know I was supposed to come on a few times, and I just ran into it. I mean, I think we're fourth time lucky now with this interview, but no, it was smooth, and we don't lose any internet
You're
connection.
Here, baby.
Absolutely, and yeah, no, everything's good. I mean, we're experiencing very cold weather at the moment. We just got a really cold week. It's down at 0 degrees Celsius, so everything's frozen over. It's very bad at the moment, but we're working through it, and yeah, now and on.
Yeah, man. I can only imagine how cold it gets out there. I know my brother, he's up in Chicago and stuff, and they're getting slammed with snow right now, but that's crazy. So how does that affect the farm? Because if you guys don't know, along with all of the other long list of things I said he does, this man also helps run a farm. He's shadow boxing and then milking cows. I promise you, this man is all around. He does everything, bro. But how does that affect the farm?
Also, for our American audience, 0 degrees Celsius is 32 degrees in freedom units.
There we go.
Yeah, it definitely makes all the farm work a lot harder. It's certainly a lot more difficult when you're wearing 5 or 6 different layers and you're still trying to shovel whatever dirt you can find out of the way. You're still trying to feed all your animals. It's incredibly hard with so many layers, and this has always been the case ever since my amateur days. It's always whenever I'm kind of in shape, losing weight and approaching a tournament, it always gets cold. So that kind of adds to the difficulty a little bit more. When you're down in body fat, you feel it a little bit more in your bones.
Yeah, 100%, brother. So a few things, man. You got a fight coming up. You were in Miami. You're back home now, right?
Yeah. I was out in Miami for 10, 11 days doing training in the goat shed with President Awesome and his team. I mean, it was a pleasure to be there, and yeah, I'm very grateful for them allowing me to train there. I had booked a training trip weeks and weeks in advance when I first was told and confirmed that I'd be fighting on the December card. Now, I didn't know it for a title fight. When he asked me when I wanted to fight next, I said as soon as possible. I mean, I'm happy as long as I'm on that December card. Just please book me in. I don't really care if it's for a title. I don't care if it's #1 slot. I don't care if it's main event. I just want to fight in December. So
doesn't even care who the opponent is.
Yes, at this
Yeah.
stage, active. I just want to keep on this trajectory that I've been on for the last few months now, where we're just training, competing, improving, and it's just kind of we're in a good process right now. And yeah, I got confirmed for that, and I made arrangements to come over and train with the Goat Shed, as I've been there for 2 fights ago, and the results were outstanding. I mean, the different bodies and the different looks I'm getting, I wanted that again. And I guess, what was it, 1 week before I was scheduled to fly out to the Goat Shed, I was told I've been matched up against my good friend Arturo Vergara.
Yeah.
So that certainly made it a little bit awkward. I mean, the first thing I did is reach out to, obviously, as President Austin, say, look, I have everything booked. I have my flights booked. Everything, the accommodation's all sorted. How do you want to play this? I mean, I have no problem giving you and your team your privacy you need to prepare for this fight, but I'm going to be in Miami. I'll be 5 minutes away. My accommodation I'm staying in is 5 minutes from your gym. I'll be over there doing my own thing. If you need me for anything, just reach out. And yeah, he said everything was cool. I got over there, started my own training, I was in the middle of my camp, so I was just continuing on with the kind of training I'd be doing. And he messaged me, visit down to the gym, and everything was smooth. I mean, they really went above and beyond to accommodate for me. I mean, it's a lot to ask for. I'm the opponent, and I'm stepping into his gym with his team, his friends, his training partners, his sparring partners, his coaches, and I'm on the mats basically at the same time as him. So
yeah,
appreciate them letting me use the facility, and not only that, actually helping me. I mean, he gave me sparring partners, he gave me advice, he trained me, he invited me to sessions. I mean, really went above and beyond. So I'm just really grateful for that. And I guess, yeah, we got through the week, we got a lot of media done together, and I'm really looking forward to actually getting in there and getting this fight done.
yeah. And I know that's tough on all three of your behalves, right? President Austin has a conflict of interest where he has his fighter, his gym, and he's the president of Karate Combat. You have Arturo Vergara, who has trained with you. You guys are good friends, and then you got to fight him, and then all of this happens. So I think that's great context, because we've seen a lot of videos surface lately about like you going to the gym and it looked like an awkward situation was going on. Some people may have thought it was some hostilities there, but as you explained, that it was just an awkward situation because of how things were pre-planned and you guys weren't supposed to fight because Tebelev stepped down, which kind of leads me to a question. Are you upset about that? Because I mean, as me, I just know me. I like to redeem myself, right? With certain situations. My brother beats me at Madden all the time. I got to come back the next day and whip his ass. That's just how shit goes, right? So one of your only losses was to Tebelev. And I know we talked about you possibly wanting to fight him again and try to get back up there and get to the championship, but now he's gone. Is there a void there that you are missing still, or are you just like, it is what it is, you're kind of glad for him? Because I mean, it is an understandable reason why he left, right? We all understand the whole thing with his skull, and adding elbows in does add another aspect to that, and could lead to a lot of damage to him. So what are your thoughts on him retiring and you not basically being able to get your chance at redemption with him?
Well, look, when President Dawson first offered me a fight in December, he was asking about, of course, am I ready for a title fight? Like, is that a 5-rounder? Is that what I'm prepared to take? And my response back was, yeah, of course I want a title fight, but my main priority is fighting in December. I'm not waiting around for the champion. So I guess with that attitude, I'd be a bit hypocritical to sit back now and say, oh, I'm gutted that I didn't fight Tebelev, because in my mind, as long as I'm fighting, I don't really care too much who it is. Now, of course, I'll probably sit back in a few years' time and be like, oh, I should have got that one. I should have got my redemption against Tebelev. But look, it is what it is. To be honest, right now, I just look at the opponent I have in front of me, and I don't really dwell too much, or I don't really deviate too much from the preparation I'm going on through right now. I mean, like, I look around the division, I see they're all good fighters. You certainly have to prepare for every single one of them. There's none of them in there that are easy to say, especially in Karate Combat now. The standard is it was already high, but it's after rising to literally the best strikers on the planet. So it doesn't matter who I'm in there against. I just need to make sure I'm in top form, and I just need to make sure that I'm able to deal with whatever they can throw at me.
Yeah. Before I pass off to my co-host, see if they have any questions, I just want to say, bro, you're just like to be our former champ, our first champ. You were probably one of the best champs we have. You have so much humility, humbleness to yourself. It is just crazy, bro. And he doesn't care. I promise y'all, I've had conversations with this man, and I'm like, Owen, who do you want to fight next? I don't care. I'm like, Owen, no, you gotta want to fight. I don't care. Put me out there. So I have some more questions, but I want to pass it to my co-host to let them get some questions in because I will run my mouth all day if you let me. Guys, take it away. Anybody?
Well, just to add, just to verify what Owen's saying here, I just also want to bring up a fact that back when I was working in matchmaking, I once offered a match to Owen. And a lot of fighters say anytime, any place. I said, hey, Owen, are you interested in fighting on this card on this date? Yes. Do you want to know who the opponent is? Doesn't really matter. But if you want to tell me, sure.
Love it. This guy's amazing, bro. You gotta love it. That's what you want in a fighter, man. We don't want picky choosy. So we know when President Awesome is talking about karate combat vets who don't want to fight people. Owen Chelmiah is not in that category, guys. Trust and believe he's not in that category. Pickers, I know you got some questions for him. What's up, brother?
Sure, absolutely. First off, I was at your Jordan Winsky fight. I was ringside. I was interviewing Chris Cyborg, so you kind of cut my interview short because it was that fight like 20 seconds. But that was incredible. And then right after you got that knockout, something even more incredible happened. You got engaged. I mean, that must have been the most incredible night of your life. Can you tell me what it was like, what you were feeling in that moment?
Absolutely. I mean, it was just the combination of both, just the combination of the achievement of all the work paying off, and of course getting engaged to my fiance, who I've been with for a decade now. She's been with me for my whole career. She's been with me from my amateur days, traveling to tournaments at 6 o'clock in the morning. I mean, cutting weight for my first ever fights. She's been there the whole time. So just to kind of to kind of start that new chapter of my life as a engaged to my fiance, it's amazing. And I'm just really enjoying life.
Huge congratulations for that, of course. And then another thing I wanted to ask you, you've obviously been around karate combat for a long time. You got the win in Event 1 in Okinawa to become the first Bantamweight champion, as was mentioned a few times. What are some of the notable changes you've seen in karate combat from then till now? And what are some predictions you make for the future, or the way you see the promotion going?
Right, so the big change I've noticed is that it's kind of a sink or swim at the moment, which is the way it should be, where fighters are having to fight or they're just getting forced out. I mean, I feel like in the early days of karate combat, maybe it was a combination of there not being enough shows, but I think we weren't seeing the fighters enough to be able to become familiar with them, get to know them, and actually support them. And I just think now we're seeing fighters like myself, we're seeing Arturo, we're seeing like Adam Noy, we're seeing them regularly. They're household names at this stage. And I've just noticed just with my own, how people are treating me and the kind of the response I get from people now. The more I'm fighting, it's just, it makes everything so much more streamlined. It makes everything so much easier when I'm not worrying too much about when my next fight is going to be. I know it's going to be in 2 months' time. I know I'm going to be picked regularly as long as I'm healthy. And I just think that's the biggest change that's happened. And it's just come with having a deeper roster in each division and just having more shows. And saying that there's more shows, but the quality hasn't taken a hit. If anything, it's rose drastically. So we're able to have more shows more often with the same fighters fighting and getting to show their talents more and more often with just a higher budget for the shows. Really, I mean, like the standard of the production at the moment is just outstanding.
Incredible, yeah, absolutely.
Do you have a follow-up to that question? Before you get to your next one, can I say one thing? I want to ask him one thing. I remember you speaking. We spoke a while back, and you were saying when you were champion, you didn't like being champion because you didn't have a lot of fights, right? And then you were just speaking on how you have a lot of fights. Am I taking your question here?
No, you're good. Go ahead.
Okay. Me and him have this thing where we take each other's questions. We're too much on it. When he started looking like I thought I was taking this question, but we had this conversation. You spoke on the fact that when you were champion, there wasn't a lot of fights for you because you had to be a main event. You had to be one of the guys at the top of the fight, which leads to a lack of fights, right? Since then, you've been working your way up. You've had a lot of fights. Now you're fighting for the belt again. Are you afraid that you're going to go back into that spot where you were, where you didn't like it because you were less active. Because now you're a little more solidified. I think in the beginning when you did that, you didn't have your doctorate yet. You were newer in the karate combat. You were getting things together. Since then, you've got sponsors. You've been moving up in life and everything. Is it going to be the same sentiment to you to be the champion and have a lack of fights? Or do you feel like you're going to look at it from a different perspective this time because you're kind of in a different space in your life?
So for me right now, the difference in between where I was when fighting for my first ever world title and now is night and day. I mean, I was 2-0 fighting my first title fight for karate combat, which I won and defended it twice. When I was the champion, even when I got the belt around me, there was no clear number one. There was no clear number two. The bantamweight division maybe had less than, you could count on both hands how many fighters there were that could make the weight at the time. It seems like we have the opposite problem now, where we have so many fighters in this bantamweight division and in the lightweight division that plan on moving down. There is so many fighters who literally any day could give me or Arturo Vergara problems. And that's just being realistic. I mean, if you were to make, I don't know what way the rankings are right now, but if you were to just throw together a top 10 in bantamweight or anyone in karate combat that can make bantamweight, I'm sure that's going to be a extremely difficult task. I mean, just going by records alone isn't going to cut it.
That's his task. That's why we don't have to do it. Leave it at the back.
Don't empty that, because you have guys now coming in with almost 100 professional fights already. And I know it's karate combat, it's a different sport, it's a different rule set, but the guy has 100 pro fights, he probably has a few transferable skills. And at the same time, you have guys like who had no pro. Like, I had no pro fights before karate combat. There's no saying that an amateur boxing champion and an amateur karate champion can't just run through the ranks. So I just think the difference in the standard of the league and the difference in the standard of the fighters and their abilities is night and day. I mean, any guys now at this bantamweight division can give you a problem. There is no mismatches as such. You get the odd one, but on paper they're not mismatches. And I just think that whoever wins this title fight between me or Arturo, there is a long line of self-proclaimed number one contenders ready to take our heads off.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, no, a lot of the old fans that are left want to see you do the run back with Jesus Lopez.
Yeah,
who's number 2 right now. Sure. But
yeah.
Adam Noy is also coming up the ranks. So
yeah, we said earlier Adam Noy should fight Jesus Lopez, and then the winner should fight the winner of you guys. That was our hypothesis of what we think should happen. We're not. Well, he's a matchmaker. We're not matchmakers.
Well,
top and the bottom. Yeah. Well, you've been a matchmaker, so you have a matchmaker's mindset. We're not that smart. All right. Listen, we just like watching them. All right. But yeah, that would be tough. I want to pass it back to MMA Pickers. I know he had a question before I got into that. I just didn't want to forget it. Sorry about that, Pickers. Back to you,
no,
brother.
You're totally fine. That was a great question. So you've had 9 fights in the pit, all top-level competition. You're one of the most experienced fighters in the Karate Combat organization. This is a 2-part question. I want to know, who was your toughest fight, and what was your favorite personal performance?
Right. So with regards to my toughest fight, I'd have to say the first one, my very first fight in karate combat. That personally, that was my toughest fight. I mean, I fought a Frenchman, Kevin Azuz was his name, and that was my pro debut, my karate combat debut, and yeah, it was during the COVID pandemic, and it's probably the longest period of time I'd been inactive from any form of competition. So I'd spent about 12 months out of tournaments with a severe knee injury that I picked up competing in karate. And that was my first kind of introduction back to combat, a pro debut. And with regard to training, I had no sparring. I had no pad work, really. I had no facilities. I mean, everything was locked down at the time. I was winging everything. I mean, all I was doing every day was just running, pushing myself for strength conditioning, and just making myself into as much of a tank as I could for what I was given. And I just remember going into that fight and just the level of uncertainty. I mean, everything, I'll tell you how unprepared I was. I got over there and they asked me to do the fighter interviews, and I had no clue about any of that stuff. And they asked me to state my name and who I'm fighting. I didn't even know the name of my opponent. I'd gone into it that blindly that I'd kind of followed all the steps that they'd given me to get there, but I hadn't actually done any of the research in terms of like as you should be as a pro. So I just about knew the rules. I hopped into the pit, and I just remember the fight wasn't exactly going my way. In between the rounds, even I was still trying to figure out like what can I do with this guy. Is a bit awkward. He had a real point style, and he wasn't engaging as much as I anticipated. So I managed to get the victory in the end just by resorting back to my style, which is wait for him to time him when he throws and hope to catch him with big shots. But for me, yeah, in terms of the resources I had, the preparation I had, and just the mind state I was in, that would have been my toughest.
You actually knocked out Kevin Azuz with the same combo you knocked out your last opponent with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
exactly.
one of my favorite fights. Your first, that's crazy that you said your toughest. That's one of my favorite fights from you. It seemed like in the beginning too, you were just like, they were just like, listen, is he French? All right, send Owen at him. It seemed like that for a while, bro. Where it's like,
which is why Adam Noy is an amazing matchup for him in the future, because it feels like this is the revenge of the French.
That's what I was literally about to say next is.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Adam Noy. No, you're good, brother. You're good. I told you, we all thinking the same. We all on the same wavelength, bro. That is gonna be insane if you guys get a chance to fight, because you are literally in karate combat. You are like, you're the red coat killer, bro. You're just coming through. It's like, oh, French, all right, get him out of here, bro. So that was I definitely want to see that dude. But I agree. I do love that. I want you to finish your question. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and then just your second part of the question, just I think it was my best moment or my
favorite personal performance. Yeah.
On my favorite personal performance, I would have to say the Maximo Nunes one. I mean, obviously my last fight was my favorite in terms of I got engaged and everything like that. But the Maximo Nunes one was because, in terms of a story arc, I was a champion. I lost it. I came back, took another tough fight. I lost that fight. I'm on a downward skid. I mean, it's not looking good. I'm the former champion. See a lot of former champions in the UFC, and they never really get back to that level that they were at while they were champion. And I just think going into that Maximo Nunes fight, it certainly wasn't easy. I mean, we knew the guy's record. We knew what the guy is like. Not to mention, I was friends with him outside the pit. I mean, I fought in the same card as him 3 or 4 times during my karate combat experience, and we got along very well. So I'm fighting a friend. I'm on a 2-fight losing streak. I'm trying to stake my case that I'm still one of the best strikers in the world, but I just don't seem to be able to prove it. And I knew just going into that performance that I needed to not only win, but I needed to win big. And I guess winning in the first round after outpointing him for the 3 minutes that had it gone, I think that kind of ticked off the box and gave me my acid test, and that, okay, yeah, Owen is still as good as we remember. It is still the same guy, if not better. And I think, yeah, I think you're going to see a bit more improvement in this fight.
Great. Yeah, that was all for me, but I appreciate it. Those are great answers.
I love that last answer too, because me and you had a conversation, like I said, after the Goyito fight, and I told you, and now I'm not taking any credit for the stuff he does, because this man puts in all of the work and he gets in the pit. But I had a conversation with him. I said, listen, it's unfortunate because I honestly, and Eric Goyito Perez is one of my friends too. I love him to death. I don't feel like he won that fight. He got Mexican bias because he was in Mexico with a bunch of Mexican judges, and it was a very close fight and one of my favorite fights of all time in karate combat, because you guys put it in. But after the fight, I said, don't let the judges make the decision for you no more, bro. You know you could get it done. And you said, I promise you from here on out, I'm doing that. The next time I seen this man, Maximo Nunes dropped him. After that, Jordan Winsky dropped him. You know what I'm saying? And it literally just took it in his own hand. And as a fighter, I tell people that all the time. Like, I used to box back in the day. My coach always said, do not let your judges make a decision for you. You either need to make it undeniable or you need to knock them out. You know what I'm saying? And anything in between, you cannot get mad at. He said, if you get a decision and you feel like you won and you lose, that's on you. You allowed them to do that. And from there, and I told you too, I was like, the next few fights you are going to be statement fights. And you're like, yeah, I know. And talk about showing and fucking proving, dude. You did your thing, bro. And I'm super, like I said, I'm super proud, bro. Like, I'm a huge fan of you. You know that. I'm big on Chelmiah. I'm team Chelmiah. It's hard to even watch this fight. I'm sorry, I'm not voting on either one of you guys on this fight. I can't do it because I can't vote on both. So I just can't do it. I love you guys to death. I got to figure out a way how to insert some money into that pool. Maybe I'll just give it away to a bunch of people that I know are going to vote so that they can increase the prize pool. Because I do want to see you guys eat on the back end with the prizes. But yeah, man, it's beautiful to see. I want to kind of get into some. We got you for a few more minutes, real quick. I want to get into some background. So we talk about a lot of fighting, and we talked about a few other things. But I want to talk about some stuff. I heard you were a dancer, bro. I heard you used to be a dancer, man. So I want to know what kind of dances did Eoghan Chelmiah do? Like, is this something native to like your culture in Ireland, or is it just like were you just like dancing just like regular hip hop stuff or whatever?
Yeah, so a very long time ago, I mean, what are we talking about? Maybe 20 years ago. Yeah, I would have done when I was very, very young. I would have done a bit of jazz, ballet, and hip hop. Now, I can't say I was very good, but yeah, I spent a few years kind of doing that in parallel with karate and football. And I guess obviously my interest in karate just superseded every other sport, so I can continue down that path. But yeah, it was jazz, ballet, and a bit of hip hop.
That's dope. Well, listen, now we understand where that crazy footwork come from. Now we understand why his footwork is so great, man. This man, and it's crazy too because you've heard basketball players and football players also have done ballet, tap, or jazz, and it helps them out with footwork. So it's something that's proven. That's dope. I honestly thought you were gonna say something like I've had a bunch of my family members like both sides, male and female, have both been dancers. So like I love dancing. And I was just interested to see. I heard you say it in an interview. You was just like, yeah, I used to dance, and you went real quick over it. I'm like telling it. I'm in my head. I'm like the interviewer. Go into it. See what he was dancing. See how he's dancing. I used to be a dancer, but back in the day, it was like more of the like snapback roll. All of that kind of stuff. I went too deep into it, but that's dope, bro. To hear. You got so many talents. Also, you mentioned football. What position did you play in football?
All right, so.
Also, are we talking about soccer or American football?
Thank you.
That's the key. That's the key part here. In Ireland, we have our own version of football.
Ooh.
So I'd compare it to a mix between American football and soccer. So we play with a soccer ball, but we can pick it up.
Oh, I've seen that before. Yeah, they can pick it up and run with it.
Look it up. It's called Gaelic football, and that would be our national sport: Gaelic football and hurling. But yeah, so we can pick up the football. And we can kick it in the goal like in soccer, but we can also kick it over the bar to get points as well. So it's like a mixture between American football and soccer, or a mixture between rugby, say, and soccer.
Yeah.
And that'd be our national sport, really. I mean, yeah, I would have played that through my whole school days, both from elementary school level up as far as high school. Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of like our national sport.
Is there like a pickup game culture for it? Like, for example, in the United States, you can go to any street in America and there are people playing basketball or baseball. In Brazil, the pickup game culture is around soccer or futebol.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a pickup game culture in Ireland for Gaelic football, or is that more something that just happens in schools?
It's actually like in terms of facilities wise, every village or every town, say, in Ireland would have one or two pitches to play the sport. Every school, both elementary and high school, would have pitches, play pitches. So like in terms of being a pickup sport, there's no shortage of facilities. I mean, if you're in a town, you'd be walking distance to your nearest pitch that you could play at.
Yeah, that's dope, man. I've seen that actually too. Once you said the name, I remember I was actually streaming one time and I was watching rugby and somebody was like, no, you got to check out this. And when you said the name Gaelic, that's what made me remember it. Because I remember, and one of the teams was black, like their name was Black something. I can't remember what it was, I think. But he was telling me about it. And I think it was during like the championship because it was a big game or something like that. He was telling me about it. So now I have to really go look into that now because I love sports. I watch a whole bunch of crazy. I love watching rugby. I love watching the New Zealand women play rugby. That one chick on there, she's a beast. She's freaking insane. I could go about that for hours, but I'm not gonna hold you too much longer. Before we let you go, and before we let any fighter go, we basically this podcast is for the fans and the karate token holders and the people that vote on you and the people that support you and stuff like that. So we always give the last bit of the interview to you to say whatever you want, to be able to speak to the people. I know a lot of times you don't have opportunities to, but it's some fans and stuff that watch this stuff. So if anything you want to say to the fans or anything you have coming up, anything you want, this is your time to say whatever you want to say. The floor is yours.
Yeah, so just first, I just want to thank you three guys for inviting me up here and giving me this platform. I mean, it means a lot. I mean, I know I've cancelled last minute on the last 2 occasions, just fortunate circumstances and traveling. But yeah, no, I really appreciate you inviting me back on here and getting the chance to talk to you guys. And I'd just like to thank then my team, of course. So my fiance and my mother for training me and helping me with everything, and for Mr. Doug Hype for all his support, my sponsor. And yeah, no, I really hope you all tune in to the next fight. I mean, it's going to be a big one. It's myself against Mr. Arturo Vergara. The two of us have very similar styles, but very different tools. I mean, both of us like to get the guys out of there. If we see a shot, we're taking it, but very different ways we go about it. And I just hope that you enjoy the fight. I mean, it's bound to be a blockbuster.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I've never watched an Eoghan Chelmiah fight that I didn't like, brother. So I don't think we're going to start in December, man. And to be fighting Arturo, man, I know you guys are going to put on a show that I honestly don't want to see, but I got to. You know, I kind of work for these people, and I got to be there. And I can't miss an Eoghan Chelmiah or Arturo Vergara fight. So I guess I'm just going to have to love it and hate it at the same time, man. But we appreciate you for your time. Time is very important, and we appreciate anybody that gives it to us. Do not worry about canceling on us last minute, brother. I know every time that it has happened, it's things that are out of your reach and that you can't do. So, guys, don't think that he's just out here just canceling on us. No, he had to do media day for Karate Combat. He had to do other things. He had things going on. And also, when he's home, what time is it right now, Eoghan?
That's what we're looking at, 7 o'clock right now, 7 p.m. nearly.
Yeah. So this is dinner time for him. So, you know, we appreciate you, brother. I think all of us will be in Miami. And we can't wait to see you. We can't wait to see you fight again. Safe travels, getting back over to the States. And we are wishing you a very healthy training camp, and we'll see you soon, brother. And this is not the last time you guys will see Eoghan Chelmiah on here for sure. We love this guy. There's no way in hell I would stop inviting him, even if he canceled on me 80 times. I don't care. He's still coming. So we love you, brother. Definitely stay safe. Tell the family I said what up. Tell mama, you know, it's my favorite mama in combat sports. You let her know I said what's up. Give her a big hug for me. Tell her I'll see her soon. But we're going to let you go now. Enjoy the rest of your day, your fiance, and your beautiful family, brother.
Thank you so much. I'll see you all.